So this is Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by the WBC Interim welterweight champion of the world, Mr. Mario Barrios. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Danny. Just here in camp. Nothing too exciting, but it's like I said, it's camp.
And you're coming off a great win over Yordenis Ugas, former world champion in his own right. You've had some time to kind of process it now. How do you look back on it, and do you consider it one of your better performances?
Yeah. Looking back on it, I think a lot of I feel like my fundamentals in that fight, they were just on point. I worked well off the jab, kept my distance, and I'm very proud of my performance. Ugas is he is a great fighter. Um, and it was an honor, to share the ring with him. But yeah, I think it's definitely one of my better performances.
And what information have you been given, if any, about upgrading that interim WBC belt to the full belt? It seems like a matter of time.
Maybe I haven't heard too much. But I know everything. It depends on what Crawford ends up doing. Um, but yeah, as of right now, my only focus, is on May 4th. Fighting Fabian Maidana.
Would it mean more to you to challenge Crawford for that belt rather than he vacate and then you get upgraded?
Yeah, no, definitely. But like I said, it all depends, how what he ends up deciding. But of course, I would definitely, I would rather fight for the belt and earn it rather than just be elevated.
And you mentioned May 4th there, Fabian Maidana, tough opponent, of course, in his own right. He'll be coming to win that belt. He'll have, very, very motivated. What can you tell us about him in terms of his strengths and weaknesses, how his style will mesh with yours?
Yeah, he comes from a fighting family, but I feel like he doesn't fight anything like his brother. He boxes a little bit more. He's a little bit more rangy. He's has a longer reach. But he still brings that intensity. He throws a lot of punches. Applies a lot of pressure. So May 4th. I'm expecting a war.
You've improved massively just from the eye test, if you like, over the past few years. What do you put that down to? Is it maturing? Is it the training team? What's been behind this progress?
I think it's just everything. Just I've definitely been type of fighter. I've been learning. Fight by fight. But I also I have a great team behind me. Um, and yeah, we're just continuing to work on my strengths and just adding on to what I already know. And I think we're having a lot of success together, and we're gonna keep this momentum going.
What's the kind of longer term plan for you? Is it to unify at 147? Obviously, it's not long since we've had an undisputed champion at the weight, or is it to go through the weights? You feel you've got the frame to do that?
Oh yeah, as of right now, my my focus is on the welterweight division. So unifying would definitely be the it is definitely the plan for me. And then even on the May 4th, the opening fight between Maestre and Stanionis, they're fighting for the WBA.
Mm.
I would love to to unify with the winner, or really, I mean, to fight any of the other top welterweights in the division by the end of this year.
We'll talk about a couple of those guys in a moment, but you just mentioned the WBA title fight there. How do you assess that matchup, and who do you expect to come out on top?
I think it's gonna be a banger. Both of them. They have a history also. I guess they fought. I guess in the Olympics or in one of those tournaments. But Maestre, he's actually a good friend of mine. So I'm rooting for him in this fight. But given he wins, that's still a fight that I would be looking at.
Well, I imagine you've shared the ring in sparring a number of times already, right?
We haven't actually. Yeah.
Really? How come? I mean, you're obviously in the same division. You're good friends. Has it been a conscious decision not to spar?
No, it's just I feel like Vegas. Being here in Vegas, we just there's so much sparring that comes in from all over the place. It just hasn't happened.
And just tell us a little bit about that, because as you've just outlined, out Vegas is known for how good the quality of sparring is. Who are some of the better fighters you've sparred? Who have you kind of learned the most against?
Um, no, here in Vegas, there's a good handful of names. But even when I was in the Bay Area, I used to when I was with Virgil Hunter, I used to get sparring with like Amir Khan, all these other dudes. And then now being here in Vegas, sparring, even my like good friend Brian Mendoza. Um, yeah, man, there's so many names, and it's hard to just even start naming them.
Let's talk about some of the other bigger names at 147. Not bigger than you, of course, but bigger as in the ones coming up alongside you. You've got Jon Boots Ennis signed with Matchroom, created a bit of a buzz earlier this week or late last week. What do you make of his talent, and do you think he's been truly tested yet?
Man, I think Boots is a tremendous fighter. I think he's definitely something special in the sport. Um, but yeah, I think it's just him, him too. He's kind of just waiting on his opportunity. And but yeah, that would even be a fight that I would love. And I know it would challenge me. On multiple levels, and those are the kind of fights that I want to take. The ones that challenge me, the ones that test me. But yeah, no, I mean, I think Boots is a tremendous fighter.
And another young gun in the welterweight division is CONOR Benn from here in the UK. Not too long ago, Eddie Hearn put out a 4 or 5 fighter shortlist who he expected to be Benn's opponent, and your name was on there. Was that ever close to happening? Were there any talks?
Um, I I don't think there was any serious talks. But then like that would be a fight I would love, and even like that would be a fight I would love to take, even overseas over there in the UK.
I'm sure he'll be delighted to hear that if he's watching, both Eddie and CONOR. In fact, what is the attraction? I mean, have you always wanted to fight in the UK?
Yeah. I don't know, just growing up, always something about going overseas, and fighting somebody in their home country. Um, it always just was something that I wanted to do. Um, so why not? Like I said, I want to fight the best. Why not go fight somebody in their backyard?
And just finally, we talked about Crawford earlier. The big rumor recently has been that he will move up to 54 and potentially face Tim Tszyu, who obviously came out on the short end against Fundora last time out. How do you see Crawford faring, not specifically against Tszyu, but at 154?
I feel like Crawford would be just as successful, at super welterweight. Um, he still has all of the tools that he had at 147. So he's still a really talented and intelligent fighter. Um, it would just be like of course at 154 the fighters are a lot bigger. But just interesting to see how he would do with these bigger guys.
He's probably moving up. Errol Spence, we don't expect to see him at 147 anymore. He was struggling for a while to make that weight safely and strongly. We need a new welterweight to dominate the division. Why will that be you?
I think I have the full package. Like I said, I know I have power. I have the size. I have the boxing ability. It's just my job. Fight by fight. Just to prove it to everybody.
Great stuff. Really appreciate your time. I should apologize as well for being late. That's very rare for me, but no excuses. It won't
No
happen
worries, it
again.
happens.
But no, really appreciate your time and very best of luck on the 4th of May.
Much love, Danny. Thank you.
And you take care. Bye.